Pakistan has been ravaged by floods. We have several new articles, pieces of video, photos, and footage that you won't want to miss. Hello everyone, it's Monday, August 29th, 2022. Welcome to the Dreadopedia Show. I'm Dread. Let's hop into it. And this article comes courtesy of The Guardian. More than 33 million people have been displaced as destructive monsoon rains continue to wreak havoc. Many parts of Pakistan have become inaccessible, and rescuers are struggling to evacuate thousands of marooned people from flood-affected areas. Local media reported late on Saturday that the Khak Dam had broken due to heavy flooding, putting the lives of local residents at risk. Other dams in the area have also reportedly been damaged. There were also reports that protesters had blocked the Indus Highway. The protesters claimed that local lawmakers have endangered the population by diverting floodwater. Videos shared on social media showed bridges, roads, and hotels sinking into water and people running to evacuate their homes. The army has been called in for rescue help in the province. The deputy commissioner of SWAT said on Friday that roads spread over 130 kilometers or 80 miles had been damaged, and 15 bridges were completely destroyed as the flood wreaked havoc, and more than 100 houses and at least 50 hotels and restaurants were also destroyed. Former Prime Minister Imran Khan has been under severe criticism for a planned rally on Saturday in a northern area of the Punjab province. Khan was also criticized for refusing to collect funds for flood relief during his visit to flood-affected areas. Khan said he could only appeal for funds after an assessment of losses. Khan has been holding rallies across the country since April, when he was ousted from power through a constitutional vote of no confidence. He is demanding fresh elections and has criticized the military and the West for orchestrating his ouster. The planned rally was criticized on social media. Senator Mustafa Khokar tweeted, "In bad taste, thousands have been left without shelter and food while the nation suffers. Politics can surely wait." And our next article is courtesy of LiveMint.com. Pakistan floods, all you need to know. The Pakistan government has announced a nationwide emergency and sought international help to deal with the catastrophe. Pakistan is battling unprecedented floods caused by the highest rainfall in the last 3 decades. This year's rains were 190% higher than the average of the previous 30 years, and the floods being compared to the 2010 catastrophe. Taking stock of the situation, the Pakistani government imposed a nationwide lockdown and requested international support. The first set of aid from the United Arab Emirates and Turkey started arriving in Pakistan on Sunday. According to reports, Pakistan has already received support to the tune of $4.5 billion from the IMF, the United Nations, the World Bank, and the Asian Development Bank. News agency Bloomberg reported that Pakistani Finance Minister Miftah Ismail as saying the damages from the floods could exceed $10 billion, with various sectors of the economy having been affected. Pakistani central bank has said that the heavy rains could severely impact agricultural output, with the economic growth set to fall from 6% last year to 3 or 4%. Along with the civilian administration, the government has deployed at least 6,500 soldiers to help with rescue and relief operations across the country. The current crisis has affected all 4 of the country's provinces and at least 72 of the 110 districts hit by floods, declaring a calamity hit. And our next piece of information comes courtesy of PressTV.ir. Check this quote out. "I haven't seen the destruction on this scale. I find it very difficult to put into words. It is overwhelming." Pakistani's Foreign Minister Bilal Bhutto Zari said in an interview with Reuters on Sunday. The top Pakistani diplomat called on the International Monetary Fund as well as the international community to grasp the scale of the tragedy and help with the disaster-stricken nation. "I would expect not only the IMF but the international community and the international agencies to truly grasp the level of devastation," he said. Islamabad has declared a national emergency to deal with the monsoon floods that have hit the areas across the country and affected more than 30 million people. Described as a humanitarian disaster of epic proportions, officials say this year's monsoon flooding has affected more than 33 million people, or 1 in 7 Pakistanis, destroying or badly damaging nearly 1 million homes. The MDMA said more than 2 million acres of cultivated crops have been destroyed by the deluge, 3,457 kilometers of roads have been damaged, and 157 bridges have been washed away. It reported massive destruction in almost all provinces, but Baluchistan in the southwest has been the hardest hit. Photos and footage posted on social media showed large swaths of farmland completely underwater and gushing floodwater washing away houses, roads, livestock, and all else in its path. Some reports indicate the outbreak of waterborne diseases. Over 20 million people have been displaced according to a government estimate. Remote areas have been cut off from the rest of the country. The country's Weather Forecast Division does not predict the rains to end before late September. Meanwhile, Iran has pledged emergency aid to the country. In a call with Pakistani Prime Minister on Saturday, the Iranian president assured his Pakistani counterpart that the Islamic Republic would provide relief aid to its eastern neighbor. And our next article is courtesy of firstpost.com. Explained the monster monsoon ravaging Pakistan. The flooding has affected 1 in 7 people in the country. With more than half of the nation inundated, the disaster is likely to be greater than the 2010 floods, the worst on record. On Monday, Pakistan woke up to more worries as the flood flurry continues. The nation is facing one of the worst floods in history, with more than 110 of 150 districts affected, leaving thousands homeless from the flooding, which has been caused by an unusually heavy monsoon season that started in July and has worsened over the last couple of weeks. Nearly 15% of Pakistan's population is homeless or living without adequate shelter. Millions of acres of rich farmland have been flooded by weeks of non-stop rain, but now the Indus is threatening to burst its banks as a result of the torrents of water coursing downstream from tributaries in the north. Our crop spanned over 5,000 acres, on which the best quality rice was sown and is eaten by you and us. Khalil Ahmed told AFP, "All that is finished." Pakistan's climate change minister Sherry Rahman called it the monster monsoon of the decade. This year's floods are comparable to 2010, the worst on record. It is already clear that the scale of this disaster is many times greater than that of the 2010 floods, which, devastating as they were held to rivers. This time the water is everywhere, and it's relentless. Much of Sindh is now an endless landscape of water, hampering a massive military-led relief operation. There are no landing strips or approachables available. Our pilots find it difficult to land, one senior officer told AFP. The Army's helicopters were also struggling to pluck people to safety in the north, where steep hills and valleys make for treacherous flying conditions. Many rivers in the area have burst their banks, destroying scores of buildings, including a 150-room hotel that crumbled into the raging torrent. The government has appealed for international help, and on Sunday, the first aid flights began arriving from Turkey and the United Arab Emirates. Thank you for watching this video. If you're finding it informative, please consider giving the channel a subscribe, smashing that like button, and hitting the notification bell so you can be alerted when future videos go live. Also, please consider sharing this on your favorite social media platform. And now, a series of informative tweets. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you found it informative, and until next time, Take care of yourself and each other.